What's up, guys? So here at the domestic terminal in Chennai, about to make my way to Delhi on board SpiceJet. I haven't been on SpiceJet for quite some time now, so I'm curious to see what their offerings are like now. But back in 2018 when I did travel on board, it wasn't very promising. Anyways, let's get inside the terminal and let's get checked in. All right, let's do it.
The Kamaraj domestic terminal at the Chennai airport, not to be confused with Kamartaj, a fictional place from the Marvel franchise, was named after a former chief minister of Tamil Nadu, K. Kamaraj, who was in office from April 1954 to October 1963. The Kamaraj Terminal, or Terminal 1, currently the hub for all domestic departures and arrivals, was the only passenger terminal till 1988, till the opening of Terminal 3, the Anna Terminal, which hosts all international departures and arrivals. I had previously flown out of Terminal 3 at the Chennai airport in 2022, and to be completely honest, it was one of my least favorite airports to have flown out of as the facilities were not great. I had low expectations coming into this airport, but first let's get checked in, clear security, and then we'll find out whether this is an airport or a Scareport. So I made my way towards a check-in kiosk, but I didn't see SpiceJet listed on there. I purposely chose not to check in online just to see what the experience was like at the airport, and if there was a fee to be checked in by an agent. I walked over to the check-in counters, and surprisingly there was no line. I made my way to the first available agent. The agent was very polite and friendly and got me checked in. There was no extra cost for having the check-in at the counter either. But there was something else that I wanted to share with you about this flight.
Alright, so got checked in, and the first surprise for the day already begins. So, the flight I had originally chosen was supposed to be on the 1st of May, 2023. That flight got cancelled, so I had to swap the flights. SpiceJet did it free of cost and swapped me on today's flight. I had originally chosen a window seat for the flight on the 1st. When I checked in, the agent handed me a boarding pass that said 10C, which was definitely not the window seat I'd chosen. When I explained to her the situation, she gave me a new boarding pass and mentioned the only window seat available on board this flight right now is the emergency exit row, which, to be honest, I'm not mad about. I got essentially a free bump to the emergency exit row, but I would have preferred the original window seat I had chosen to get some sick takeoff and landing footage. But anyways, let's go past security right now and check out more of the airport.
So I made my way through another short line towards the security checks.
Alright, made it through security. Now let's start our favorite game. Airport or Scareport.
Alright, time to check out the airport. Just as you clear security, the first thing you're presented with are shops, a section full of them. Most of them in this block were fashion retail outlets. There were also shops lining the hallways throughout the terminal, mostly souvenir shops and a few other fashion retailers.
There are a lot of shops here. Boom, +1, airport.
At one end of the hallway, there was a food court with a handful of fast food options and a few cafes. At the other end of the hallway, across the terminal, there was another food court with a few more restaurants. If those options weren't enough, throughout the terminal there were a few more restaurants and cafes present. One shop that stood out to me was this gourmet popcorn stall. I didn't try the popcorn, but it looked really good.
I don't think you'll run out of any food options near here at this terminal. Boom, +1, airport.
In one of the food courts, there was a bar. And in the third level of the terminal, there was another bar.
There are bars here at the airport as well. +1, Scareport.
There were plenty of views to the flights outside, and also a variety of aircrafts and airlines hanging around.
+1, airport.
Plenty of seating was available at the terminal, and there were also areas away from the gates where you could sit in privacy. Larger seats were also present where you could stretch out and take a nap if you had to be here overnight.
Boom, +1, airport.
Places to charge up electronic devices were also available at the airport.
And they seem to be located by every gate. +1, airport.
Spread out across the terminal were different sculptures and paintings that depicted various aspects of Indian mythology. I almost didn't see this incredible wood sculpture as it was located in a hidden corner of the lower level.
Boom, +1, airport.
There were places to get drinking water and accessible public restrooms.
+1, airport.
Wi-Fi was available at the airport, but you would need a local number in order to be able to access it.
+1, Scareport.
Alright, so our total tally comes out to 7 for airport and 2 for Scareport, making Terminal 1, the Kamaraj domestic terminal at Chennai, officially an airport.
Alright, so more surprises on this SpiceJet journey. I just checked the boarding pass and it says boarding time at 8 p.m. The flight, according to the email, departs at 7:55. But according to the boarding pass right now, the boarding time is 5 minutes after scheduled departure time. To be fair, on the boarding pass it also says that the departure time is 8:30, so it seems like the flight got pushed back by 30 minutes, and no messages or no alerts for it.
Since I still had a bit more time before boarding began, I decided to get a late lunch at Wow Momos. Momos are essentially steamed or fried dumplings and are a popular dish across India. I ended up ordering the fried paneer momos as everything else was unavailable, and grabbed a seat at this cool-looking table. The momos were alright. The green chutney was really good.
Alright, so I'm even more confused now because on this departures display, it shows SpiceJet going to Delhi at 7:55 still. Let's see if the boarding pass is right or if the display is right. Whew, SpiceJet already turning out to be a bit too spicy to handle.
Eventually, the displays had been updated and the new departure time was 8:55 p.m., an hour later than scheduled departure time.
Alright, quick update. So it is 8:10 and boarding has not started yet. I was kind of expecting that. But yeah, anyways, there's something I wanted to kind of mention. It's the fact that delays always happen. Especially if you're a frequent flyer, you're probably used to delays happening all the time. It's not as much that the flight got delayed that's the issue, but rather how it's handled. And so far with SpiceJet, the delay itself doesn't faze me because it happens. It just happens. It's just a reality of traveling. What did prick up my ears a little bit was the fact that the original flight that I had booked got cancelled. And there was no email, no phone call, no contact made whatsoever to notify me that the flight got cancelled. Which is kind of scary, to be honest. Because if I hadn't checked that a day or two ahead, then I would have missed my next flight. But anyways, that aside, let's get to the boarding gate. Boarding has started. Let's do it.
Oh, also, since about 2017, Chennai Airport has been a silent airport, meaning no announcements would be made over a PA system.
I think this whole idea of the silent airport is definitely not working out right now, because the SpiceJet reps are yelling by the boarding gate, and no one's able to hear what the hell they're saying. Might want to rethink that.
Anyways, boarding was definitely not chaotic. I've definitely seen worse at Mumbai and Delhi airports, but it wasn't very organized either. After the boarding pass scan, I made my way to our getaway ride for the evening. I got off the bus for a close-up view of this 737-800 that would take us to Delhi. After another boarding pass check, I made my way on board to the seat I had been assigned, 15C. The seat on board this SpiceJet 737 had a decent amount of padding. Given that this was the emergency exit row, there was a good amount of legroom. In true low-cost carrier style, there were ads for various products on the seats and in the cabin. The seatback tray was a pretty standard tray that could be pulled in and pushed out. The seatback pocket contained instructions on how to connect to the entertainment portal, the SpiceJet in-flight magazine, Spice Route, and the safety information leaflet. The wider than usual overhead panels on board the 787-800 housed individual AC vents, individual reading lights, and the call for attendant button. I also noticed that the window shade in the emergency exit row was reversed as compared to the rest of the seats, which closed top down. Instead of an armrest, on the left-hand side, there was this block that served as the armrest, which was fixed to the exit door. One thing that I did like is that the cabin crew came around handing out glasses of water to passengers before departure. Not sure if this was done on every flight or if it was just on this flight as it was delayed, but either way, it was nice. At the time of booking the ticket, I pre-ordered a meal for this flight as well. I was surprised to find out that the meal wasn't just the item I ordered, but rather a proper meal tray that consisted of a drink, a bar of chocolate, a piece of bread, and butter. For the main course, I forgot what I had originally ordered, but it was rice with some paneer on one side and some curry on the other. The utensils that came along with it were made of wood. The meal was quite decent. The bar of chocolate was really good. The Spice Route magazine had the menu for the buy on board service, and as you can see here, there were a variety of different meals, mostly hot meals and sandwiches, that could be pre-ordered at the time of booking the flight. The lavatory on board this 737-800 definitely had an interesting shape to it. It was a bit tight, but it seemed like the seat area was pretty wide. The sink was deep, but it was pretty narrow as well. The lavatory was stocked with sanitary napkins, air sickness bags, soap, and facial tissues. Fixtures included a coat hook and an ashtray. No baby changing station. The lavatory definitely showed some signs of use, but the main areas were kept pretty clean. After checking out the lavatory, I got back to the seat and we made our way into Delhi Airport, and eventually we landed in Delhi. Alright, cool guys. So SpiceJet, a couple of things to cover, so let's get right to it. So the very first thing, they canceled the flight, which is fine, cancellations happen, but I was not notified about this cancellation at all. If I hadn't logged in to manage my booking, I wouldn't have even known that the flight got canceled. There definitely need to be alerts, either text, email, or both, text and email, especially when flights get canceled. The next thing was, when I did call up their customer service, I spoke to the customer service 4 times. So the very first time I called up and the representative was very proactive and helpful in not only understanding, but giving me clear directions of what can be done next. That is either rescheduling the flight or canceling it. At that point, I was undecided on which step I wanted to take, so I just got the information and then I called back a second time. The second representative I spoke to definitely did not seem like he understood what was going on, and I literally, this was the first time I've done this, I literally hung up the phone just so I could call again and speak to a different representative. The third time I called, the representative was fine and he helped me reschedule the flight and everything was fine. Once the flight was rescheduled, once again, I got no email saying that the flight had been rescheduled, and I got no email with the new itinerary. So I called yet again a 4th time. Once again, this representative was also fine. He was able to understand and help me out with what was needed, and I got an email with my new itinerary. These are definitely things that need to be sorted out from the SpiceJet administrative side, so the process is a lot more smooth. The next thing was, at the airport, the flight got delayed. Totally fine, it happens, flights get delayed all the time, not an issue. Now, that aside, once on board, the hard product, the seats were pretty comfortable, especially compared to other low-cost carriers in the region. I was bumped to the emergency exit row seats, which gave me a lot more legroom, which was nice. But originally, I did want to do a review of the regular seats. I didn't sit on the regular seat, but when I did glance at them while leaving, the legroom did seem pretty tight. But once again, as I said, I didn't get a chance to sit on them, so I don't know what the experience was like over a 2-hour flight. Now, in terms of soft product, the cabin crew on board this flight was actually very nice. The only thing that made up for everything that happened before was literally the cabin crew. They were very friendly and they were absolutely amazing. Would I recommend SpiceJet over the other airlines in India? Now, here's the thing. If SpiceJet can get all these administrative things sorted out, such as delays, cancellations, and so on, it was actually a pretty decent experience on board. It's just all these things around it that make the flight very unreliable and make traveling on that airline very stressful. And that is the reason I would rather choose one of the other airlines in India, such as Akasa or Vistara, especially given the fact that SpiceJet is usually priced very comparably to these other airlines. But overall, the experience on board was actually very decent if you can look beyond these issues of cancellations and delays. Anyways, I'd love to hear from you guys now. What have your experiences on board SpiceJet been like? Have they been similar to mine? Would you recommend them to someone? Let me know down in the comments below. If you like content like this, then consider subscribing, as I'll be releasing weekly videos of airlines from around the world. I hope you found this video either helpful or entertaining. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.